Hello, Recognition and welcome back to Ruler Waves 3 as we continue our Spanish adventures. And the focus of the first part of this episode anyway is definitely going to be around building our new fantastic battleships, and I'm quite excited to get into their designs. But before we do, I wanted to just briefly touch back upon the technology stuff. So some interesting comments to the last video. It got me thinking about a few things. So the kind of main points of conversation were around essentially kind of these kind of machinery development and engine development, and making sure we would not want to focus on that to make sure our ship's kind of up to speed. And by and large, and I'll stick to my guns on this, I don't find individual levels of kind of machinery or armor or hull, for the most part, to be particularly noteworthy of interest. The vast majority of these are very kind of small incremental weight savings, so 1% saving on machinery or 1% saving on hull weight. And over time, yeah, they make a huge difference. But in terms of focusing to get one level before you build a ship, I don't think it's going to make a huge difference to the outcome of that ship. However, it did prompt me to have a good thought of saying, okay, well that's true in the level by level basis, but you don't want to fall massively far behind. If you start getting 3, 4, 5 levels or whatever it is across all these research areas, then actually that incrementally starts to add up. So while I don't necessarily want to prioritize it, it's a good question of saying, well, actually, is the level we're at comparable with where we should be or with the rest of the world? And so that got me thinking, because it might be that while in principle, the areas we want to focus our fleet is in development of the aircraft capabilities and air defence. They may see that actually we've lagged a little bit behind in machinery, so let's focus there for a few years and try and catch up. And I thought it was an interesting thought. And then I also stumbled across something else, which gave me pause for thought. And if I bring this over here, I was in a Google Drive the other day for other reasons, and in the shared files with me, there was this Ruler Waves 3 tech tree, and I can't even remember why or when or how this was shared with me, but it was. And so the web page I was using last week, which is obviously based on Ruler Waves 2 tech, this has been updated to has all the Ruler Waves 3 tech. Most of it is by and large exactly the same. But it also has been updated to have the kind of like the missile text and things, which Ruler Waves 2 didn't have as much of. And here's you can see here a good example of these machinery ones. Very 1% weight saving on machinery, and that's not even obviously over your whole ship. That's just on your engine. Now there is a couple of critical ones that you might want to focus on, such as oil firing is very important. But diesel, yes, but maybe not as important as oil early on. And some of these certainly start to get a little bit more chunky, but again, whether I had one level or not when I designed a ship, it wouldn't upset me the same way that like turret configurations, I think, would have a much bigger impact upon your overall ship design, whether you could have triples over doubles, etc., rather than whether you'd save a few tons here or there in your engine. But like I said, point came back. Let's have a look and see where we are compared to where we're supposed to be. So I made a copy of the sheet and I zoomed it in so you guys can actually see what's going on. And you can see I added the level column down here, and I went through and I marked in yellow where we are currently sitting for each of our levels. So we come back up to machinery is a good place to start. I should have prepped it there, but anyway, right. So we're sitting at level 18, double reduction gears. If I go back to my game, you can see here level 18. That's what I've correlated across. Right. So and then what I've gone through is I've gone and marked in where in the current year should we be? Now this one's not quite as straightforward, and I'll explain why. Because in the actual game, and if I pop back to the game, you can see we are in 1928. However, I went back to check the first episode, we are on a 90% tech rate. So that means obviously everyone advances through the tech tree 90% compared to what they should do. So, and I don't know exactly how that's applied. So in this kind of assessment, what I've done is I've said, well, the game started in 1890. We've played through 38 years. 90% of 38 is about 34. So we want to look at the tech that would level after 34 years. So 1924, that is. So essentially 4 years slower than where we are. again, I don't know exactly how the game kind of works it out, but that seems like a reasonable line in the sand to use. So we've gone through and we've flagged all the ones that are obviously 1924 or before. What tech level should we expect to be at? So some of them are 1924 Minoes, some are 1923, some are 1922, whatever, right? I've just gone through and flagged what year should we be at. And then, because I want it in a format I can actually do something with, I've summarized it in a nice little table. So here are all our tech categories. Here are all the levels we are currently at, as per the rule of wave screen. And this is the level we should be at if we are up to date at a 90% tech rate. And then more importantly, what's our current gap to the tech level? And you see, obviously, it's a few ups and downs. Most of the places we are probably about one level behind where perhaps we should be, which is probably to be expected playing a smaller nation with a smaller budget. But there's definitely a few areas with some big gaps. So these ones have all got kind of more than one level difference. Now, let me just star these so they're easier to see and easier to pick out. Okay, and what are they? So we've got 3 levels behind on armor development, 2 levels behind on damage control, 3 levels behind on our AP projectiles, and 3 levels behind on fleet tactics, and a couple levels behind on our Zeppelins. So this then comes back to the first point. Well, actually, do I then want to change our current priority, which you can see here, to try and catch up? And I think for some of these answers, definitely going to be yeah. So for armor development, okay, 3 levels, that's going to start to make a difference. If we have a look back at armor. So yeah, we're losing 2 levels of armor quality and a 2% weight saving on armor. And these are a bit esoteric to kind of think about exactly what that means, but still 3 levels seems like a lot over given you've only got 28 for the entire course of the game, So this seems to me that yes, this is something I want to bump up the priority on to make sure we catch up with these. I don't know if I'm going to go medium or high. We'll see. I mean, that's well, annoyingly, we're about to lay down a vessel. But hey, let's just say we're going to go high. I can change later. The other one, subdivision and damage control. It's good, but it's obviously gets applied after the fact. So I think we do want to catch up, but maybe we don't need to go full on to high, but we want to bump up to medium. AP projectiles, again, that's pretty important to be able to kind of hit and sink the other enemy ships. I'd be tempted to pump that on the high, just for a few levels. Again, the difficult bit is you've got to come back and check and tweak these again. Fleet tactics, I'm not so concerned about, and Zeppelins I'm not so concerned about. I mean, and you will notice there's a few areas we're obviously at or even ahead of time. Somehow we're ahead of time in Kurtz and gun mountains, even though we're in low. That may be in previous focusing. We're ahead of time on anti-aircraft artillery. We're ahead of time in shipboard aircraft operations. Our air wings are definitely up to speed. So much so you could say, well, actually, maybe you want to bring that one down a level because you're not getting anywhere anyway because you're already ahead of time. So maybe you say, well, let's pump that one down to medium, and we're kind of maybe spreading our research out a bit flatter, but which is fine because it would kind of do that anyway because we know the points going into these areas weren't getting spent because we're too far ahead of time. So I think that was a useful little thought exercise. Say, okay, maybe we want to tweak a few of our priorities just to try and say catch up a few low-hanging fruit, and maybe like reduce these because we know it's while we're saying it's high, it's not actually pushing us forward the way we thought it'd be. Also, circling back to the initial thought around where do we sit in terms of machinery and engine design, actually we're roughly where we should be. So I'm okay leaving that one where it is for just now. In fact, I'd be even tempted to bring that one down to medium. I don't. So what's got me caught up here is that actually it'd be great to close some of this gap before we lay down the new hulls for our battleship. That only gives us about 3 months worth of tech. So maybe we kind of actually we could be wildly aggressive in this and not make some of these changes until we lay down our hulls just to try and we'll leave these ones out because these will apply after a ship's been built and really just try and squeeze maybe one level out before the ship gets laid down. Yeah, why not? We could do that. In fact, we could be I don't tend to min-max my science quite so much, but what we could even do is say, do you know what? Let's stick. Oh, my guns weren't on that. Well, I know I tend to keep them high, but let's say we're gonna bring you down to medium. We're gonna pump our armor up to high. I mean, our fire control it's on time, but I get very paranoid about falling behind. So maybe I'll just we're gonna do it. We're gonna bring that one down to medium. I tend to bring everything down to low actually, just for a couple of months to see if we can't squeeze out one level. Do you know what? Let's do it. Let's go full on min-max, and I will revert back to essentially what we had before once we lay down the hulls. This is just because I want to try and squeeze out something before we lay down our battleship. It'd be nice to get some improved armor, which I think is the next one. Okay. And yeah, so a bit of a faff to have to come back and do this, but it was a useful check to do every now and again just to see where you compare. And let's double check what the next armor one is. Yeah, just improvement armor quality. Wunderbar. I just need to remember when we actually did our hulls to go back and check it. This kind of thing I would forget. Cool. Right, with that done, now let's move on to actually designing our battleship. Okay, so this is more or less the ship that was spat out at me with a few minor tweaks. It's probably not far off what we're going to end up with. I thought it'd be good. It's not quite there, but it'd be good to talk through the various design points. So as mentioned last week, in terms of gun calibers, we've got up to 16 and then it jumps up to 20 is all we have available. We have nothing available really quality one of the larger calibers. So I think 16, it makes sense to go with that. I also quite like the 16 caliber one. I think it's always feels like a good kind of sweet spot between firepower and rate of fire and weight of things. How much of that is just personal bias, I don't know, but I've always liked the kind of 16 caliber type ships. I also enjoy building ridiculous 20-inch behemoths when you get up to that, but for what we want, I think this is good. Now, triple turrets, again, I'm happy with that. They do still have some issues in terms of jamming and things, so I think we've got some tech which reduces that now. They're also obviously a bit more of a disadvantage in that if one turret gets hit, you lose 3 barrels, but I think for us to try and squeeze out as much as we can within our 36,000 ton limit, this is definitely the way to go. Now we could actually say, well, if I went somewhere else, like say Germany, do you have any better guns? No. I've got to worry about who actually likes us. Do you have better guns? No. America, who we're a little bit on the fence with. Okay, so no one has better guns. So that's not something we necessarily need to worry about. Always interesting when you jump around and see it like, wait, wow. Apparently we build ships 400 tons heavier than the USA. That hurts. 550 tons for the same ship. Spare if you went to Germany. Yeesh. That's all those little tech advantages I was talking about, but that's across a lot of places. But we're going to build these at home because pride of Spaniards. Okay, so we can't get better guns, so we're stuck with these 16s. Now, turret arrangement. This is the one that was spat out, kind of forward superimposed, and forward centerline. And I think I'm tempted to move the forward centerline to aft instead. So we have some rear firing capability, because as much as we like to be an aggressive navy, we are not always charging at our enemy, and sometimes we do have to run away. So having some rear-facing firepower, I think would be advantageous. Now, if this was a battle cruiser designed to chase things down, absolutely. It's not. We're not. Let's move things to aft. So let's do that just now. So let's put on an aft center line, triple turret. Boom. Yeah, probably gonna look a bit funky. I wonder if I can update the ship graphic. I won't delete that one. Oh, it's the wrong one. Forward superimposed, please. Triple turret. There we go. I may, I'll play around with the design, see if I can just shunt the superstructure forward a little bit. We'll do that at the end though. Okay, so I'm quite happy that as a main armament. If you consider our current battleships have 6 11-inch guns. That's so bad. So bad. Anyway, they're also only 15,000 tons. Speed. Okay, so actually when it spat out, it was down at 22 knots. And I previously discussed, look, I wanted them to be a bit faster. Our current Heavy hitters are up at the 25, although Mysterious, unfortunately, starting to show age, is now slowed down to 24. But we could potentially refit those if we feel that's a useful thing to do. And our heavy crews are up at 26, and obviously our light forces are much faster. So we want to see what kind of speed we get. And here I always do look for the kind of break points. And what I mean by that is that every knot of speed does not cost you the same in weight. So you can see we're sitting at 447 tons remaining. If we got up to 23 knots, that cost us about 180 tons or 175 tons, I suppose, if we're being specific. And if we go up again, okay, that one's now got quite more expensive. That's going to cost us, what's that, 270 odd tons. So you see that one knot was, what's that, pick a number, 40% more expensive than the other one. And then if we want to go up to 25 knots, well, that's now costing us 560 tons for a single knot of speed. So that's when you try and find these points where it suddenly gets more expensive, and then really ask yourself, do I want to go into that next bracket? And the answer in this case was, no, I can't afford it. I don't want to do it. I'm going to stick at my 24 knots speed. Okay, cool. Then we get down to the armor. So we've got 13 inches of belt, and that, again, that's just all we can really afford. It's not terrible. Obviously, it's a lot better than what we've got. I think it's 11 inches we've got on our current Madrid class. I can't remember, but I mean, I shouldn't really compare them. It's not the same thing. They're 18 years old. They're tiny. But I think 13 is reasonable if we look at our gun data, appreciating we are quality 0. Obviously, 13 inches of belt gives us protection. Not that close, actually. Only up to about 19,000 yards before we could start punching through 13 inches of belt. So obviously, slugging out against other battleships, we're definitely going to be trading blows. However, no, good, it's calculated in, perfect. However, I've not gone for the straight 13 inch, we're going for the inclined belt. So that gives you increased effective thickness of the belt. So we get protection beyond 13 inches. And indeed, that is shown when you come in here. And it talks about your immunity zone. And you see it goes from 16,000. So we're actually protected. So we've got somewhere between 14.4 and 14.8 inches of effective armor is where this works out at. But I think that's okay. And it needs to be because we can't really afford to go any thicker. We've got a little bit of deck extended. I mean, that's really just giving us protection against the smaller shells. It's not going to do too much to anything else. It's only a couple hundred tons. I was toying maybe actually just kind of getting rid of it, but we'll leave it where it is. Do I want to increase it to 3 inches? I mean, what would that cost me? More than I've got. I'll leave it 2.5. That's just kind of a little bit of protection. And nothing about the belt. For the deck, I would have liked to have gone for full 5 inches of deck armor. We just can't afford it, right? We're already spending 5,000 tons on the 4.5 inches, but it's definitely become more of a threat in terms of, well, not only plunging fire, but also dive bombers are going to become more of a thing, so deck kits and deck armor is going to be important. So 4.5 it is, and that's where we're going to stay. And again, just a little bit of a deck extended, just so we've got some kind of protection of the rest of the ship. Conning tower, I didn't really play around with that, to be honest. 12.5 is more of an I tend to go for, and actually I maybe might steal some weight from here if we want it elsewhere. Our actual turrets, they're essentially pretty close to the main armament, 13 inches of main armor, and then we've got a little bit thicker on top, give them a little bit more protection, although they won't be inclined actually, so their protection down here is even less. But I just can't afford the weight to do anything else with it. So that's probably a vulnerability we're going to have to accept here, is a risk of turrets being knocked out if they get hit in a battleship duel. That's not ideal. But as with ever ship design, it's all about compromise, and I think that may have to be our compromise. We're up to level 2 in intuitive defense, which is what we've got tech-wise, so I think that's what we want to add. And then for other armaments, I've slapped on just kind of essentially as much AA stuff as I can get my hands on. So our secondary guns are down at 4 inches because that's where we've got the dual purpose caliber, and that's what we want to bring. I would like more ammo. I've only got 100 rounds of main ammunition, but the problem is it's blooming expensive. 200 tons for 5 rounds is a lot. So we might just have to carry 100 and, be accurate. I'll take a little bit more of this stuff though, so we can fend off aerial attacks. In terms of additional armaments, these ships shouldn't have torpedoes. I know the AI slaps them on, but I pulled them off. There was some discussions about saying, "Wow, we should put scout planes on our battleships." Actually, to be fair, I think that was envisaged as a fast battleship when we were talking about that. But for where we are with the speed we've got, it's going to be part of the main fleet, which should have air support from our CVs or CVLs to do the scouting for it. And again, I don't really want to spend the however many, couple hundred tons. Well, it's cheaper than I thought, actually. It's only 130-ish tons. But still, I don't think it adds value because these should always be operating with that air cover in place. And that, I think, is essentially that. So we've got a little bit of weight remaining, although it's not terrible to save some weight because of our AA directors, but obviously you can just stick these in, for example, well, not you. Maybe I'll just put a few more of you guys on. That's it. Okay, so we have 35 tons spare, which is fine. I'll just carry that forward and we'll use it for AA directors when they get discovered. Yeah, perfect. Apart from the graphic. I'll go see if I can fix that. Okay, I think we've got to the acceptable place. It wasn't as bad as actually I thought it was going to be. You can use these to select the entire superstructure and then just move it around en masse. And then once that, I just had to then shift funnels up and then find the extra little bits. There were some boat markings on here and a few masts I needed to shift, but actually it was easier than I thought it was going to be. Yeah, so there we go. Now I quite like the name Trident actually, because it's got lots of triple turrets. So it feels like it fits. It doesn't really match our naming criteria to date, though. We've definitely gone very place heavy for battleships. But oh well, it's fine. I like it. It's fitting. I don't know what we're going to call our sister ship, though. I need to think about that. But I've got 3 years to work out a name for a sister ship. Okay. Everything's good. 35. I don't think I've missed anything. Don't know why I wanted to uncheck that, but it upset me that it was checked. Wait, what? When did that happen? Ah, yes. A or Y? Oh, it was an A before. I didn't mind it. Hang on. I had these. Yes, I had these turrets before. All right, hang on. Let me add a triple. Where were you? You were center. Where were you? Forward center line. This was the main line's god awful, but yeah, you're happy with this, but you don't like it if I move your turret to the rear. Interesting. Which is frustrating because that's not what the tooltip says. Yeah, well, I mean, technically, it shouldn't be valid if we have it in A. It says if you're in A or Y. But it seems to mean if you're in A and have also Y or W. Makes sense, game, makes sense. Okay, so now we have a question. Do I want an after, or do we just commit to the all forward facing? Oh, I've just changed the graphics and everything. The all forward facing design. And cry if we have to run away. We could all just not run away. Be bold, be brave. But it seems ridiculous considering some of the people we're going to go up and fight against. But I mean, our options are either give up our torpedo defense, which terrifies me. No, no, not even that's going to work. Okay, right, fine, no worries. All forward firing it is. I will go and fix that. Wish I'd never changed the graphics. Right. I finally tweaked and sorted it. So we have, are you going to happen now? Okay, we're okay. Our fire doesn't affect our secondaries. We're just going to have to be an aggressive navy, which I'm not against, but I'm just, gives me a little bit of nerves. Okay, let's lock it in. All okay. Boom. How long going to take? 4 months. Okay, so we've got 4 months to ideally get at least one level of tech, and then we'll update our design to incorporate that. Beautiful. Is anyone else looking obsolete? No, not yet. And then I think we're just going to scrap the Madrids and Malagas. I think they, yeah, they're not good enough to hang around even in any kind of reserve role. There was questions about keeping the Asturias of Andalusia and giving them a facelift, kind of updated turrets and updated engines, which I like it in principle, or in theory, I should say, because the danger there is it's very expensive to do that. And often in terms of a game world, it's unjustified to spend so much money on old ships when you just build new ones. But maybe we'll look at that in the future. Okay, international upheaval in Greece. If we send a force to restore order, we could take it over. I mean, someone's got to do it. Look how the Baltics have prospered under our rule. I almost called them the Balkans again. That's what got me into trouble in the first place. On you go, I'll take Greece. Order restored. Place is now under our administration. Oh, some people are resisting our benevolent rule. Okay, new torpedo bomber. You are faster. You are heavier. You don't go any further. You go slightly further though. I think you seem to be an improvement all round. Not a huge one, to be honest. Yeah, well, get to target a little bit quicker. And is a little bit tougher, but incremental improvements are still improvements. So what do we need now? I mean, I know we asked for a float plane scout and we didn't get anything, but it was very good. Perhaps we should ask for another one. Are you in operation? You are. We can obsolete you. And let's pick up. Yeah, let's try a float plane scout again. And again, I just need you to go far, and that's kind of it. Speed's not critical. Reliability, or do I want toughness actually? Might be worth doing toughness so they don't get shot down. Okay. Come on, scientists. The new naval secretary believes destroyers are the most important part of the navy. He wants me to build at least 12. I'm not against it. I'm trying to save my money for some big sexy battleships. But we could say let's build 6. Okay, we're close to ballistic testing. We can now build purpose-built carriers, which is pretty exciting. I think, again, that's ahead of time where we should be. That's not quite in the cards yet. We've got a reasonable air wing. Nothing purpose-built in terms of carriers, but we've got a couple of CVLs. We do have the Atlantia. I'd love to get a new supercarrier, but no, priority is definitely big capital ships. I think we are capable to get in bigger destroyers, if I remember correctly. I can't remember, I think we have 2,000 ton ones, or is it just 1,800? Let's find out. Wrong button. Button. Yes, I think we're up to 2,000. This is a healthy size for a destroyer. And the question is, do we need them to be 2,000? That's debatable. I'm just going to close you for just now. We look at the last ones we built, which wasn't so long ago, the Lazaga class. They were 1,500 tons, 33 knots. I wonder if we just do an updated version of you guys. I open your design. Can we get much else? Not really. Oh, you got to quality 1. So it's kind of like an improved Legaza. Yeah, there's not much else we can do with 60 tons, is there? We don't have dual mounts for destroyers yet. That's again one I saw was coming up soon, but it's not quite there. I'm tempted to just build slightly smaller ones, not go for the full 2,000 tons. Just again, slightly cheaper. I think these are still pretty effective. We could give you a few more secondaries if you want to upgrade your HEA factor. Help you shoot down some planes in the vicinity. Please pardon my phone if you hear that. And yeah, maybe just go with these. Oh, another name. The Mark II. Okay. What have we done? 54 of 42. Yeah, we need to get rid of those. And apparently I can't have that many. Is that acceptable to have slightly too many? Will you shout at me? Yeah. So I'm only allowed 4. Well, now I feel somewhat underwhelmed that we have so much spare capacity. I could throw some depth charge on there. Yeah, I'm down with that. Give you a bit more SW value. And throw a few more rounds on, because why not? Okay. Happy? Happy, done. Build me that. Yeah. We'll build half dozen of those, and so we'll just help bolster our destroyer forces. An upheaval in Cuba. We could get Cuba back. Okay. Are we doing? America's fine. No! What do you mean they acted faster than we did? I clicked the button the turn it was available. America. Oh, unexpected advances in A. Despite, again, that was one where we are tech ahead of where we theoretically should be. Oh, and we've just got director. That's actually quite good to know. Rebellion Greece continues. See if we lose Greece, I will be upset. Do you need an A director? Don't think so. Yeah, we don't have the space for it, and it doesn't increase your HA that much, so no, we'll just leave you as you are. I'll leave you as you are. In fact, can I just say don't do anything and then go to the build screen? No. Has that just cancelled my design? I've never done that before. It would appear to have done so. What a waste of 62 bucks. Right, let me quickly do that again. Not for rebuild, just for build. Design, we're going to be the Mark II. Yeah, we want to do quality 1 guns, and we want to give you depth charge, and I think that's all we did in the end. And I think we got rid of those and give you an extra pair of those, and one of them. Right, done. All okay, good. Yeah, we'll do it for this time. Okay, America has Cuba. We still have Guantanamo Bay. What a reversal of fortunes. America has all of Cuba except Guantanamo Bay. But obviously, yeah, the invasion threat is now so real. Now, I talked about this rebellion mechanic before. It's not one I'm hugely up to. Like, I'm not entirely aware of what influences it and whether if I activated a bunch more ships on active service, whether that makes a difference or not. I mean, let's proceed with the assumption that it might. So let's put some light cruisers onto active service for just now. We've actually still got a bunch of destroyers for an active fleet, so we'll keep them inactive just until this rebellion hopefully blows over. Otherwise, we'll see what we're going to do. And in terms of our corvettes, Yeah, it was one spare. And there was a good suggestion to say, why don't we spin it out to the South Pacific? We don't need one here for trade protection. But, oh no, I've got one here. I already have a ship here. Why do I have a ship here? Huh, okay, never mind. For some reason I had it in my head I didn't need any foreign protection in... oh yeah, I don't. Requirement 0. But I've put one there anyway. Oh well, bully for me. How much have I got in the specific South Asia now? I've got 3, and I need to have 3. Okay, that's fine. Which means I can bring home another one slightly off topic here, but the Sisney. And oh, you've ended up out there as well, Puerto Rico. You guys come home. Okie dokie. So I still have one spare corvette then in Northern Europe. This chap, Zaro. Okay, that's fine. I'll maybe just leave him where he is then, until we take over some more glorious land that we need to defend. Destroyers. A world cruise is planned for young cadets. We will take the newest and most powerful, which is presumably the 2 CVLs. Okay, we're still working on later linear launched torpedoes, but again, it's a few years ahead of its time. Okay, so here's something, another question that cropped up. When we get these reports of saying we're frustrated or we've suffered a temporary setback, and these are slightly different, is that due to the time penalty? And I didn't think it is. We can double check this. Motor landing craft. Bear that one in mind. Oh, apparently torpedo bombers taking a while to develop. Yeah, okay, hang on. Motor, 6 of those, please. Yes. Oh, that. We never did get our armor pop. Okay, build me 2 of those. So what are you going to cost me a month? For 2. We could probably go for 3 of these actually. That makes me happier. Tridents, 3 of them. All good things come in 3s. It's just, you know, starting to feel right. Oh no, that's 4 that's each. Oh. Oh no, that doesn't feel right. Okay. Having said it, we've got 200 million in the bank. So 280 is not a problem at all. We'll generate that. 421 over the next 3 years. Can I afford that? Let's see, I've got 200 in the bank and I currently generate... Don't worry about that construction because that's going to go away. Well, not for a while. No, I don't have 200 in the bank. I've got 100 in the bank. Oh, Requin, you're just getting everything wrong right now. So no, we're going to build 2 of them. And yeah, that's definitely all we can afford. Okay, glad we got there eventually. Yeah, I'm still at 6 million in the hole. Okay, these destroyers are more expensive than I give them credit for. We will somehow manage. We're meeting our obligations. Right, I want to check tech. We wanted to check... it's all the way down the bottom. Amphibious operations, motor landing craft. It is indeed ahead of time. Now that's obviously could be coincidental, but it could be indicative that these frustrations are just all variants on a theme when you're ahead of time, because there's like 3 or 4 different pop-ups. You've got temporary setback, you've got just frustrated, and then you've got our science hasn't caught up with theory. And I don't know, it still feels odd that you'd have 3 pop-ups for what is essentially the same thing. Right, hang on. It's all Windows. Windows will go back here. Oh no, okay, good. Alright, fine and dandy. Now we can certainly save a little bit of money by turning a bunch of things off. Off upheaval. Off upheaval? Off active fleet when the upheaval ends. Italy is trying to respond to upheaval in Albania. We are pretty angry with France right now. I don't really care if Italy gets Albania, to be honest. It's just somewhere we could take if we ended up in war with them again. Although as the air develops, being in and around here is going to get pretty gnarly, so I'm not sure if I'd want to do an invasion mission to Albania. It could be pricey. But whatever, you have it, I don't mind. Oh, come on. It's like a month. Oh, might as well one of our AP levels caught up. And another one where we're behind, but we don't really care about. And some 9-inch guns. Okay. That does remind me, I do need to tweak the research now that is not actually a priority. So let's get our AA stuff back up to where we want it to be. So shipboard operations. I'm tempted to just bring them up to medium because we do know they are knocking on the door of where they want to go. I'll keep you at medium as well. I think I'm going to still keep my fire control at high, even though I don't think it's going anywhere soon. And I wanted to keep it high. Again, I know your points. In fact, no, because you're so many years in front. I'm going to bring down to medium for just now. I can't remember next year for the A tech. In fact, it just pops. We'll keep you on medium. Okay, that seems sensible. So we've got a high focus on fire control. Again, we're trying to just keep up speed. Let's see if we can't catch up on the armor. Oh, the other ones we want to bring up were the subdivision and damage control and the AP projectiles. So we'll give them a little bit of love. So again, a bit more spread out, but at least there's a logic to it. Cool. Chinese fighter, good for them. No more chat about this rebellion. In rebellion still, though. Oh, thank you, private shipbuilding. Review of our destroyer program. We have them building. No danger. Cruiser from America has arrived. We could get some more money. We could spend prestige to get money. Nothing or insult them. I don't want to insult America. That's not where our focus lies. I will happily sell my prestige for cash, though. Cash is king. Flip lanes. Only one can go further. I mean, this apparently was ahead of our time. Is a bit more maneuverable, same toughness. Does go ever so slightly further. But it isn't really any faster. How is this 23 one so good? Because maneuverability is not that big a thing. Because it's not really getting into air combat. It's just going to try and run away. So toughness, I think, would be more important. I suppose, although if you're maneuverable, you don't get hit. That being said, do I want to spend time and effort developing new tech for 6 nautical miles? Actually, slightly slower. And I think the answer is no. Okay. Naval intelligence strongly suspects that France is clandestinely supporting the rebels in Greece. We can placate them. We can send them an ultimatum, or we can hurt the rebels while also raising tensions. I mean, I'm tempted to be like, how dare you, and perhaps go to war, because they broke their alliance with Italy, with America. They're currently standing on their own. They're in a bit of a rebuild phase, as we are, but they don't have huge tonnage. Good to go. I'm not that afraid of them. I think we're gonna try and poke the bear, because we could get, if a good war with France, and it needs to be a good war with France, we could walk away with chunks of North Africa, chunks of the Far East. Let's go for it. I'm tempted by the bottom one, but let's poke the bear. Oh, we did. It's angry. It's not quite war angry, but it's angry. Okie dokie. Everyone loves me for building ships. Thank you very much. You asked for the stars, I give you the stars. Ooh, they're angrier. Okay, we are essentially at time, but let's maybe push it a month and see what happens, eh? Oh, Ireland is rebelling. 1 point. We can get some depth charge throwers. And no war. Okie dokie. Go on, 1 more month. I could do other things actually, and activate my fleet and sail them to places. Right, but the Prime Minister has visited France apparently to outstand sources of tension. We could promote understanding, love, or we can never trust the French. So our damage control is close to being improved. Better submarines, which we're not really playing around with, and a new torpedo bomber, which is good because we may have a use for you. Our fighter is old. Yeah, I'll take some tenders for a new prototype. Do I still get to choose what it does? I do. Fighters need to be fast, and they need to be maneuverable. Yeah? Yeah. Aha! We've defeated the rebels. No. no, we haven't. That's it. The opposite. We have been defeated by the rebels. Great news, everyone. Rubbish. I don't have a good history of rebels in this run. Ha ha ha! But who needs rebels when you have the French? Sweet. And on that note, we're going to bring this to a close. Okay, I think this is going to be the make or break if I run this war. I'm excited. I hope you're excited. And I'm going to have to wait a few days before I get to play around with it, but there we go. Awesome. Right, yeah, we'll end it here, and I'll see you all in the next one. Cheerio.